Hi folks, welcome back to the Horde. So it's about 4:20, still March 31st, still Monday, 9 degrees. Look at that, 9 degrees centigrade. Looks like a heat wave. I don't know if you guys watch Marcel St. Jean. He's a scrapper out of Canada, Sudbury, Canada, something like that. And it just shows him walking through the snow, walking his dog through the snow. And I'm like, oh God, it's nice living up there in Canada, but boy, it's cold. Well, anyway, where Marcel is, it's cold. It just shows him walking his dog in the snow, and he's got to have a couple of feet of snow on the ground, and he's trying to drag. He's got a ice hut, which is like a trailer. With a little hut on top of it, and they're trying to drag it to a little island, and they're having a bitch of a time because it keeps snowing on them, and dragging a ice hut through 2 foot of snow isn't easy. They dug up a winch from gasoline, and I guess the latest thing is they're hooking it to a couple of trees, and hopefully they have success. I guess they got one of the huts up on the island, and now they're working at getting the second hut up on the island. If I were they, I'd figure out where the deep water is, as close to that island as you could get, and that's as far as I'd drag those little trailers just off to where the deep water is, so you could go to fishing. And actually, they seem to just have a good time hanging out in the trailer and drinking. So I don't know why they don't just go to the cabin on the island and hang out and drink, but such is life. There we have the tire, and it's still not seated. Right, that side more or less has seated. That's as close as I've gotten it so far. But this side just won't seat for love nor money. I've tried profanity. I've tried tire lube. Brushed it on nice, put it in my little hothouse, my dishwasher hothouse there, made it nice and warm. It just will not go on this rim for love nor money. I don't know if I got to get it up to like 80 degrees, wait until it's summertime to put it on, or what the story is. But at 50 plus, it must have been up at 70 or 80, sitting in that little hut with the heater on it. It just won't go on. So, I've tried about everything, including beating it with a hammer, beating the tire, that is. I don't want to beat on the rim. I don't want to destroy the rim. I have a dead blow hammer, but beating on that bead with the dead blow is going to crack the hell out of the dead blow, so I really don't want to do that either. But, I beat the heck out of it. I hit the rim with a nice hunk of 2x4, 3 foot hunk of 2x4. I wonked on that. It just won't seat. So that leaves me one of two places to go. I could completely dismount the whole mess again and do as one of the subscribers suggested, which is completely clean and buff and really make the rim perfect, so that the tire slides on easier. I guess that's really my next step, because I've tried heat, I've tried the strap, I changed the tube, made sure that it's got the right size tube in it now, so it's not like the tube is bagged up there anywhere. I've really hit it with all I've got, and you can see it's still staring at me. About the golf cart, it's got two problems, by the way. Just for anybody who wants to discuss it. Problem number one is the starter is a little finicky, as you could see as I was tapping on it and so forth. And the finickiness of the starter is also a function of how charged the battery is. It seems that the more the battery is charged, the less finicky the starter is. And as a matter of fact, I just put the charger on there, and it claims the battery's only at 80%, but the battery's also at over 13 volts, so I'm not sure how it could be 80% when you got over 13 volts in the battery. 12, 8, Well, actually, the battery float charges at a 13.2, 13.4, and I think it claims the battery's at 13.6, so that battery should be fully charged. So it does have a fussy starter circuit, but it also has likes to lose spark every once in a while. Just cop an attitude and just give up its spark. And if you're familiar with a golf cart, there's a lot of things that go into the circuitry on a golf cart. They kind of obviously you have to have the key turned on. For reverse, it kind of, when you pop it in reverse, it'll let the engine start, but it also does a rev limiter thing, which is also electronic. It's not a rev limiter on the carburetor, something that keeps the carburetor from opening wide open. It's someplace else. It has something to do with the ignition. It kind of starts breaking up. Also, if I overload the golf cart, it seems to figure that out also, and it won't let you go too fast with it. When like if I put a heavy load of wood on it, it won't go as fast. Then I'll take the wood off and I'll fire it up, and it'll go as fast as it did before I put the wood on. So the thing seems to have its own mind. What I need to do is I need to run that and get the schematic and completely take it apart and make it so that there's no rev limiter in forward or reverse. I'm the only one that's going to drive it, and if I crash it, it's my own stupidity. I don't have to make it so that any Tom, Dick, and Harry who goes out on a golf course and gets drunk doesn't back it into a lake, right? There's no golf course here. So I need to go through that and then go through the circuitry and get some crap out of there that just doesn't need to be in there anymore. I think that'll help. At some point, it probably wouldn't be a bad idea to change the brushes on the starter. If that doesn't fix the starter, replace the starter. Problem is the starters are about $150 over eBay, and one wants to be sure before they put $150 out, eh? So there we are. For the spark, I should spend a few minutes looking over the circuitry and the motor and figure out what kind of advance it has, what kind of pulse generator or Hall effect or whatever it's using to create engine timing, and then put my little portable ignition system on it and see if I can't get it to run on that. One of those extra credit projects. About these tires, once again, I put them on, and they've been on here. I think tomorrow they'll be on a week, so I put air in them a week ago, and they all seem to be holding air, staying right where I left them a week ago. That's a wonderful, wonderful thing, because after all the trouble I've been through with that tire, it's nice to put 4 of them on and not have any trouble with it. The temptation is to buy another few more, but as I look around, I got tires all over the place. So before I buy another single tire, I really got to use up some of what I have or get rid of some of what I have, because it just becomes crazy after a while. You got all these tires going around, and you'll literally have new tires going bad. I wanted to get this whole tire situation figured out before I mess with those over there. Those two over there are supposed to go on a Honda 350 quad, 4-wheel drive, all-wheel drive. It's a Rat that I bought last summer at a car show. I don't know, I paid $350, $375. I think I paid less than $400 for it. I don't recall. I'd probably go back to some of my old videos and figure that out. So anyway, somewhere around $400 plus or minus $25 or plus or minus $50. And one of the tires is flat, so I figured I'd just replace both front tires, or at least one of the front tires for the time being, just have the other one there. What I'd like to do with that is the plastic is completely pounded, but the engine seems to run pretty good. So I'd like to fix up the exhaust and just kind of use it as a skeleton. Maybe put a snow plow on it. Use it for pushing some snow. Also looking around, I've been watching some videos on YouTube. What's his name? Big Nick the Great. I don't know if any of you guys watch him. He just put together a shifter go-kart. He basically took a bunch of components and put them together and created this really cool go-kart. I don't know how well he actually shifts it. It's got a I think it's a Tecumseh transmission, a separate transmission. It's not part of a transaxle, and he's using a belt clutch, not centrifugal, just a belt with a tensioner, chain drive to, it looks like a solid axle. I don't think he's got a differential on it, and he's using it as a go-kart to beat up and down the streets, which is cool. What I'd really like is actually a lawn vehicle that one could just sit down on easily, almost like a Pug has these lawn chair things. Not quite that, they're a little flimsy, but the nice thing about them is they're light. And not quite a bar stool thing, a little bigger than a bar stool vehicle, a little more tire than a bar stool vehicle, something to kind of roll around on the property. And as one is putting together the ideas for these things, you're always kind of going, well, what exactly do I want it to do? How big do I want to make the tires? If I make the tires big enough and don't put a differential on it, that means it'll go about anywhere, but the maneuverability isn't as good. With a little less tire and a differential, the maneuverability improves dramatically, but now it gets stuck, right? So it's kind of like one needs to decide exactly what one wants before they start putting it together, or one has to decide, oh, I'm going to build more than one of them. Fearless Front has kind of done that with some of his tractors. He kind of built something like a racing mower, and that thing flies. I think it does like 45 or so. You guys could look at his some of his videos, and he actually has a GPS that as he's speeding up and down the street on it, the GPS tells him what speed he's going. And he also built a diesel tractor. He put a 10 horsepower diesel, air-cooled, on an old Sears, one of these old beasts. And he created an off-road vehicle with that. He actually broke into the rear end and welded the differential and so forth. So that's another monster. The nice thing about his go-kart style one, the racing tractor, is it's relatively light. The nice thing about the diesel one is it'll go about anywhere, but that pig is heavy. You know, even if you pull the engine off that guy there, it's probably close to a 300-pound tractor, all of 250 anyway. And that engine's a heavy engine. That engine's over 100 pounds, so very heavy unit there. All right, guys, I'm babbling and thinking about all the projects that if I live to be 100 years old and I get retired tomorrow, I'll actually get to work on. Folks, thanks for watching. Thanks for commenting. Thanks for subscribing. New and old subscribers, thank you. Remember, keep your feet and your tires and your tracks down, your head and your handlebars and your steering wheel up. We'll catch you on the next episode of The Horde. Till then, be safe.